Hey everyone, Steven here, and today I'm looking at a custom controller from Modded Zone. This has a ton going on with it, and there's no way I can cover all of it in one video. So today I want to showcase some of the customization that you can do to the controllers they offer on the aesthetic side, and then delve into some of the things that you will get with the Mod 2.0 chip, more specifically with Destiny 2. I will showcase some of the other gameplay footage that they have on their website for other games, but I'm going to really focus in on Destiny 2, but still cover everything or as much as I can of what they actually offer in the app, because again, there is a lot going on here. So starting on the website here, we have the Customize tab. The one thing I want to note here is this is actually just going to showcase the controllers that they have available that you can adjust the aesthetics, and then out of these you can do the modded chip and all of them outside of the Nintendo Joy-Con. So when we're looking at this, we have the regular PlayStation 5 controller, PlayStation 5 Edge, Xbox Series X, Xbox Elite, which is the controller that I have for this video, PlayStation 4, and then the Joy-Con. All of these work with PC outside of the Joy-Con. When it comes to the PlayStation 4, you're going to have to do their specific Smart Pro edition if you want to actually add the modded chip to this. Clicking on the shop tab, you're going to have a breakdown of the various controllers and the different editions that they have for those controllers. To reiterate, for the PlayStation 4, for this instance, it would be the ready to go in the Nintendo Joy-Con kind of base model. You do not have the option to add in the Mod 2.0 chip. It's just not going to be there. For all the other ones, as far as I can tell, you do have that option. Clicking on one of these though, it's going to just bring up a list of the controllers that they have within that group. I really like the Stellar Bot here. We have the Why So Serious. And then this is going to be the list here. And so that was just for the PlayStation 5. Let's click on the Signature Edition. So we have these. I really like the Spider-Man one right here. And then we have the Pro Edition. This one will have different grips on the back, so we get the paddles as well. So on some of these, I mean, they're changing the controller itself. So we have these right here. And then for PlayStation at the bottom, we're going to get the M series, but then you're going to get the DualSense Edge series. We see some crossover here where it's like some of the same kind of designs that we're getting in some of the other groupings. So the Why So Serious, you're going to see that one kind of across the board. It is a really cool design. And then let's go ahead and go over to Xbox. So you may see some crossover, or you may see like here, there's just going to be designs that you're not going to see anywhere else because it's going to be more geared towards a game on that specific platform. And then let's go Signature Edition. Different designs here. Some of these even come with the quick charging stand. But let's just go ahead and go straight into, let's go Signature Edition on the Elite 2 here. Again, this is the one that I got. We're going to go into build your own here in a second. But if I just click on one of these, so choose your hardware. This is where we're looking at the modifications. Rapid Fire, FPS, or Ultimate Mod Pack. You can see the pricing difference here. Standard warranty, 90 days. For an additional cost, you can get the 1 year for the Mod Zone or 1 year armor warranty. And I believe that armor warranty is like for anything that goes wrong for the controller. I think the MZ, the Modded Zone one, really has to do with their hardware that they're putting inside of this. Going down to the details here though. So this is where we're looking at what is this stuff doing. So Ultimate Mod Pack. So when you get that Ultimate Mod Pack, you're getting all of this stuff here. That's a lot. Rapid Fire, Burst Fire, Akimbo, Advanced Anti-Recoil. You're getting some for COD specifically. COD Armor Repair, COD Auto Heal. You're getting some stuff for Gears of War, The Division, all these other things. If you just go with Rapid Fire, this is what you're going to get here. So it'll come just with that. Now, when you have the mod pack installed, you've chosen maybe just Rapid Fire, you can add these other features down the road. It's not free, but in the app, which we're going to cover in a little bit, you can actually just add that pay for it, and it unlocks that feature for you. And then we have the FPS mod pack, which comes with this right here. So there's a lot going on in terms of the mods that you're getting and the options that you get with that. Again, it's a lot to cover for a single video. What I do like about the website is this very much feels like a buffet. Just pick what you want. You don't have to get all of this stuff. So you can go with, hey, I really don't even want this stuff. I just think the design is cool. You can go that route. Or you do want the mods, but maybe you just need the FPS pack to start. And then down the road, you're like, hey, I actually do want some of these other ones. You can get those down the road. You don't have to get it all at once. Now, if you don't get the mod at all, you're not going to have that chip in there. So it's not where you can, hey, I want to do it down the road. You just actually can't connect it at all. It's missing, which is what this is saying right here. It won't include the MZ Titan mod chip or any mods. So it's only modified cosmetically. Keep that in mind. Now, as you go through the website, you're going to come across various breakdowns of what some of these mods are doing. So here, I just want to highlight a couple. When we get into the app, I will cover some of these again. That one gives a lot of breakdown to all of them. Again, there's just so much going on with the app. But this one here, we have the advanced anti-recoil. So it's just compensating for the weapon's vertical recoil by automatically offsetting the aiming stick position to the opposite direction which the weapon is moving when firing. So we have advanced anti-recoil. You have the horizontal anti-recoil. This one's only available for the 2.0 chip. They do have a 1.0 chip. They've moved on now to this 2.0 chip. So if you get any controller from here on out, you're getting this new 2.0 version of the chip. So you get stuff like this with it. So it's going to compensate just like the advanced anti-recoil. Now it's doing it horizontal there. And then we have the thumbstick's drift fix. Manual calibration for thumbstick drift. Really cool here. So again, you need the 2.0 version. So with this, you can manually fix the thumbstick drift by recalibrating the center position of the thumbstick, and it applies it to both the left and right thumbsticks. Shifting over to the customization side here, again, a lot going on with this. The one thing I've noticed in just kind of looking through the various controllers, you're getting different options when it comes to the face shell. That really has to do with what you would find for their various editions. You're kind of getting those options, but you can customize it more for the grip color and the button controllers, things like that. With this, when you start out though, it's going to ask you if you want any of the mods. Now, looking at these mods, we have the rapid fire still, and then we have the FPS, but you also get the Fortnite pack. So this is an option that you don't find just clicking on one of their other regular editions. Here, giving you a breakdown, you're going to get things like quick build wall, quick build floor, etc. for that mod, or you can go with the ultimate pack, which is going to cover everything. Now, the pricing for this, the pricing for the controllers, obviously is going to be different per controller. So here, slightly higher than if you were to just buy like one from any store in terms of like the base model of a controller. A little bit of an uptick on the price there, but really the pricing on the mods is going to be the bigger thing that you may notice. I'm assuming that has to do with the amount of work that they have to do to actually integrate their chip into these controllers. So if I now go over to just like a regular Xbox controller, so 30 for the rapid, 50 for the FPS, 40 for the Fortnite, 130 for the ultimate. So just looking at that, keeping that in mind, and a regular Xbox controller is what, $59, $69? So we're $10, $20 off that for their base model price here. But if we go over to the Xbox Elite 2, Rapid Fire 50, FPS 80, Fortnite 80, Ultimate Pack 160. Again, I think it really has to do potentially with how much work they're needing to do to actually integrate that chip into the hardware that they're dealing with. Now we go over to PlayStation 5 Edge. It's going to be different pricing here. So it's more like the Elite 2. The base price here starting higher because this is a more expensive controller. And then we have just the PlayStation 5. And that's going to mimic a little bit closer to the Xbox. It's almost like, actually I'd say it's almost like an in-between. It's just slightly off the Elite, but it is a more expensive controller. So I'm going to go back to the Elite 2 here, and there's different things that you see within the customization options for each of these controllers. So it's one of those things I would encourage you to go to the website, play around with it, see what you can come up with. Just keep in mind that does impact price, but you don't actually have to do this if you don't want to either. So once I click on one of these, it'll actually bring up what that shell is right there. Let's click on that back of the shell. So we can do these various options and you have the pricing. Everything is very transparent with that. You can change the color of the paddles, then we can change the color of the buttons. And they even have bullets if you wanted to do that. You can blank them out. And then we're looking at the menu buttons here. You can change the colors of that. D-pad, you can even add various things to that. Now, if you look at mine and you're like, well, yours is custom, it gives you the options at the bottom to add the images that you want to the D-pad, to the kind of bottom handles of the controller, and to the regular like illuminated Xbox button. Bumpers, we can change the color. So we have all this stuff. I'm not going to go through every single thing. Thumbsticks, the rings around the thumbsticks, and then digital triggers. So with this, if you wanted to have a feeling that is similar to a mouse click, you can do that. Tactical buttons, same thing. You're going to get like that mouse click out of the A, B, X, Y buttons. You can remove the rumble motor if you want, so it won't rumble at all. You can disable the R3 click. And then this is where we're looking at if you wanted to add custom pictures to this, your gamer tag, anything like that, or if you wanted to get it expedited to you, you can actually pay a fee for that as well. And then we have our accessories, Type-C cable. You're going to get the hipshot.aim device if you want that. Clip-on grip domed, and then same thing with this one, clip-on grip concave. And then we have our warranty options down here. Gives you a breakdown of what's going to come with the difference between the 1-year MZ warranty, and then we're going to get the 1-year armor warranty there. So you can stack the price here very, very quick if you wanted to, but if you don't want to mess with doing the customization route, you can just buy one of their other editions. Again, it's just going to be a signature or just the core if you wanted it to be just the base model here. Once you click on that, you can add in those modifications. This is where I think it's kind of odd because you don't get the Fortnite option within this. You really have to go the customization route. I'm assuming you get it if you purchase the Ultimate Mod Pack here. It will include Fortnite and all that other stuff. I'm wondering if when you're doing the rapid fire mod, if you're trying to purchase it down the road, what that cost is going to be, because I'm not seeing that on the website here. If I do get confirmation on that, I will add that either to the video or to the description, because mine actually has everything unlocked on it. So it's not something that I could actually see the price via the app outside of the drift. With the drift on the app, I know that that is going to be $10 because I do not have that unlocked right now. But everything else, once you've actually unlocked it, you've paid for it, it'll just be blanked out, so there's nothing to purchase or anything like that. Now for my controller specifically, I went with the clear top to it because I wanted to see the components. Again, I went custom in terms of the images because it is actually the artwork that I have for the channel here. The only concern that I have with this, and it isn't really the images like on the grips, it's more to do with the D-pad and then the Xbox like illuminated icon at the top. I'm concerned that over time, that's just going to easily wear off. Now, time will tell on that. So way down the road, I will come back and kind of update in the description as to whether or not that has rubbed off or anything like that. But that's the only thing I can think of here, is that I could see that kind of rubbing off as you use it more and more, especially with my image, because I went with something that was pretty intricate in terms of the imagery for that Xbox icon location. And so I just think because of how intricate the image is, it's just more fine print on it. And again, it's just going to wear off quickly over time. My guess is somewhere around a year, I'll start to see that potentially wear off. If that isn't the case, I'm wrong on it. That's awesome. That's really, really good in terms of just quality with this, but it is a concern looking at the controller. And one thing missing here that I wish they did have was the ability to use a whole image for the faceplate. You can't do that. You can really just put in these small zones on the grips, like an image right there, and then on the D-pad, and then when it comes to the icon at the top for the Xbox Elite 2 controller. I checked the other controllers. None of them, as far as I know, allow you to actually just do a whole image on the faceplate. Maybe down the road, because that would be really, really cool to do that, because then I could have taken some of this artwork that I have for the channel and just really covered the whole thing, and I just think it would have looked awesome compared to just having the smaller zones that you can work with. Now, I still think the controller looks really, really awesome. It is more geared towards me, the channel, and the artwork that I've had done for it, but I am still impressed with how this turned out. But I am hopeful that down the road we get even more options when it comes to image customization for these controllers. Shifting back to the website, I know that I said I was going to cover the mods and the descriptions and all that in the app, but on the website, I found a page that just gives a better breakdown as to what you get with these. So here, just no modification, rapid fire, gives a breakdown. We already covered this earlier when we were looking at the controllers. Then you have the FPS mod pack and then the ultimate mod pack. It's just giving you a breakdown of what it comes with. And it always ends with, hey, you can purchase these other options down the road via the app if you want to. At the bottom here though, featured mods. So this is giving you a breakdown of what it's doing. Rapid fire, advanced anti-recoil, pulse recoil assist, etc. So rapid fire mod converts single shot and semi-automatic weapons to fully automatic. You can customize the rate of fire with these, which is really cool. The advanced anti-recoil assist mod reduces recoil on almost any weapon to give dead center accuracy. Pulse recoil assist, this one not really going to cover because it's only compatible with the Titan 1.0 only. The aim assist mod automatically snaps the crosshair over to that target. The effect of aim assist is noticeable in single player, campaign and co-op game modes. Example here is going to be COD Zombies. The mod is not compatible with multiplayer. Now I'm going to pause here for a second and come over to the FAQ section because it brings me to a question that I think I'm going to get on this video and that people are going to have about these controllers, which is, are they illegal? So here, this is their write-up. Our modded controllers are 100% legal as a mod chip does nothing more than pushing the buttons on behalf of the user. A modded controller won't boost your performance in a magic way. You will still have to use your gaming skills. Here at Modded Zone, we use only authentic Microsoft and Sony controllers as the base of our product, meaning there are no issues whatsoever when using a modified controller on a gaming console. So here, it's one of the things that they say right up there. It does nothing more than pushing the buttons on behalf of the user. I think that's going to be kind of the line in the sand. If you think that just by it doing that, it's cheating, then you're going to be in that camp. If you're like, hey, it's just really assisting me. So to me, the way I kind of frame it up in my mind, a controller isn't going to be as good, generally speaking, as a mouse and keyboard. Here, it's kind of closing the skill gap between a controller and using a mouse and keyboard. It's assisting you, but it's not something where you can just 100% not be a good player, get this, and all of a sudden you're winning every single game. It's just trying to hone in the skills a little bit. If, like, for instance, I don't think I'm a good gamer at all when it comes to FPS shooters. I still enjoy them, but like recoil gets me all the time. And so if I'm playing on a controller, like, I just don't have as much skill. When I go over to mouse and keyboard, I can actually combat that a little bit because of the precision that I get out of the mouse and keyboard. This again kind of closes the gap a little bit. I think you're going to be in either camp. If you're a competitive player, you're playing where, I don't know, money's on the line with some of those Fortnite tournaments, that's where I would kind of be weary about, like, hey, you get to use this and potentially be better than everybody else. It still boils down to the skill of that player, but you're still getting a good boost in performance from this, where I don't know that I would want to allow that in that instance. If you're just gaming to have fun, I think it's, because again, if you're playing on a controller and somebody else is on a mouse and keyboard, they're probably going to best you most of the time, generally speaking. So this is up to you in terms of what your opinion is going to be on it, but I did want to cover this. Now let's jump back over to the mods. Next we have burst fire. Automatically presses the fire trigger a certain amount of times, stops for a denied period of times, and repeats while the fire trigger is pressed. Auto scope. It can be configured to activate the ADS/scope as soon as the fire trigger is pressed, either by fully pressing the fire trigger or by double tapping the fire trigger. Akimbo. The Akimbo mod allows to fire dual wielding weapons by just pressing the regular fire trigger. So you don't have to press both, just press the one. Quickscope. Quickscope mod automatically aims down the sight, holds breath if applicable, waits for the user's configured time, and then takes the shot. Auto hold breath. It automatically holds the breath when aiming down the sights, significantly enhancing the accuracy of sniper shots. Auto sprint. So with this, automatically starts sprinting by just pushing forward or double tapping forward on the movement stick. Drop shot. Automatically drops the character down to the prone/crouch position each time you fire your weapon. The player can keep the thumb on the stick to aim and fire upon the opponent at the same time that the player's profile is reduced, making it more difficult for the enemy to hit with their shots. Jump shot. Specifically indicated for close range combat, the jump shot mod makes the character continuously jump while the fire trigger is kept pressed. The player can keep the thumb on the stick to aim and fire upon the opponent at the same time. That makes it extremely difficult for the enemy to hit the target. And so here we have some of the new ones. We have crouch shot, automatically crouch while firing when you're using the mod. Horizontal recoil assist, we talked about this earlier. Auto reload. Here it's going to automatically reload the weapon when you stop firing. We have strafe shot. This one allows the players to move and shoot simultaneously, providing greater mobility and control over their character. Double jump. So you're going to essentially double jump every time you just press the jump button once. Auto swap. Automatically swaps weapons after you stop firing with the auto swap mod. That to me is going to be something that would be useful with Destiny 2. Thumbstick drift fix, we talked about this earlier. Then we have the auto calibration. So this one you can enable the automatic calibration function for the drift fix mod. This feature is an add-on option. I mentioned I don't really have this one yet, maybe down the road. And then NBA green shot. So this mod automatically adjusts the right thumbstick based on user-defined settings for a specific duration. Customize the green shot assist for each NBA player. Activating the mod with the left bumper minimizes the chance of user input shifting the thumbstick sideways, leading to more accurate shots. So this has been the mods kind of a breakdown here. So this is everything that I want to cover with the website. Now let's actually shift over and just showcase some of these working. Now I'm going to use the footage that they've made through the website that they have on YouTube so that you guys can see this in various games, and then I'm going to showcase the app and me using this with Destiny 2. So looking at the top here, if you go to the support tab, you can go to video tutorials, and that is where I am right now. And then they have all of these guides, troubleshooting, demonstrations, and the information you would need in regards to those just right here. So the application I'm going to showcase, again, I can't cover everything. If you want to actually kind of do that on your own and explore a little bit, you can get some good information here. Down at the bottom though, we're going to look at the advanced anti-recoil footage for COD really quick. So with this, it's going to showcase on the left-hand side without it turned on, and then the right-hand side with it turned on. You will see a very big difference between the two. How much it's going to translate to other games, I'm not 100% sure, because every game is going to have a different amount of recoil, but you can see here it does a really good job at actually reducing it. They also have a video for Black Ops 6 showcasing the other mods that they have here. They're all lined out. So here we're going to have the anti-recoil mod. Just showcase that, but you see it does a really good job there. Next, after this, we're going to have the strafe. So as you're pulling down the trigger, you're going to actually move side to side, and it does that automatically. After that, we're going to have the rapid fire plus anti-recoil. So you can stack some of these. Keep in mind, not all of them will be able to be stacked because it's just going to confuse the game. After that, we're going to have the burst fire, which is adjustable in the app. So you can scale some of these as well, which is really cool. And then this is going to be the crouch shot. So as you're pulling down the trigger, your character will crouch as you're doing that. And then after that, we're going to have the jump shot. So as you're pulling down the trigger, the character will start jumping. And then last, you're going to have auto scope. So as you're pulling down the trigger, it will automatically zoom in on the scope. One last thing I want to mention for the guides here, for the mod purchases, they actually do showcase like the purchasing system that you would use if you don't get all of them, and you buy it through essentially credits. And with that, they have different amounts of credits that you can buy, and then they showcase, I think it's Bunny Hop, and it's like $2 or like $2 worth of credits. And so gives you an idea of what the individual ones may cost. And then they even have on there like higher tiered pricing for the credits that you can buy. So I'm assuming with some of the like packages, it's going to be more like $30 to $50 on that. At the bottom, creating profiles, editing those profiles, profile selection. You can watch video tutorial guides on that. They do a really good job just outlining everything in terms of presenting the information in a very concise way in a short video. And then you also have the mod adjustments. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the mods, but if you want like a greater breakdown, this is where you can find that information. And I will make sure that this specifically is linked in the description for you. All right, shifting over now to the application here. So title screen, connect to. If you don't have this connected to anything, it will prompt you to actually connect it to whichever controller that you have. Here, this is the one that I have, gives a bunch of numbers there, but if I click on that, it's going to connect to the controller that I have here. Here's just some of the different settings that I've been messing with. So we have our profiles, which is what we're looking at right now. You can create a new one. You can go into the presets. If I click on mod purchases, this is where it's going to give me a breakdown of what these actually do, and then it showcases that it's unlocked. This is where I was saying for the most part, I actually have all of these unlocked. I don't have the pulse recoil assist there. And then I don't have the drift one as well, but I could actually do that if I wanted to just by clicking on that, and I could purchase kind of the coin deals that we showcased a minute ago. So here's all of our purchases. Going back to profiles. Now, once we're here, controller default, no mods. If I slide this over, so now I can actually change that. So I'm sliding it to the right. If I slide it to the left, I can delete it. I can rename it if I want. So we have FPS, Destiny Pulse Rifle, Fortnite, and then D2 is my preset for that. But let's create a new one. So here we can enter a name for whatever this is going to be. I'm just going to go with Destiny 2 still, but I'll put the dash there. Add to mod profile, and then select mod. Here, this is where you can go through all of these, and this is where I said it's a lot. I can't cover all of this, but you have all the ones that we were actually covering earlier lined out here. You have to keep in mind some of these may not work for the game that you're trying to use it in. So I'm going to showcase in the background me actually playing Destiny 2 and just gameplay footage of me kind of running through some of these. I'll label it if I can. I didn't actually just showcase it to the camera. I was just kind of rolling through some of these and I didn't take note of it. So if I can remember, I'll do that. If not, the big one that I am using is the auto sprint, because for a Titan build, when you're running one of the mods for the character in prismatic, it allows you to actually slide and then you press the melee button and you come up with a hammer and you smash it down to the ground. Well, on controller, I just struggle with that. One of the cool things here is with the auto sprint, like I don't have to worry about that part. I can literally just like quickly hit the slide and melee and then I can do it. It doesn't work every single time, but it has about a probably 80% success rate, where when I'm doing it on my own, man, maybe like 20 to 40%, I just struggle with it. So it's actually helped me a lot when it comes to the game. And so we can see all the way down, and then we have some of our just kind of preset ones, Battlefield, Fortnite, Gears of War, etc. at the bottom. So we can choose one of these. So I'm just going to go with the auto sprint again, right? We can add that. As we're looking at this, I can either enable it or disable it. You can actually test the changes and then you can save and close. looking at the kind of gear there, this is where, again, it gets into even more detailed information where I can't cover all this. Per mod, you get a breakdown of everything that you can change within that mod. Disabled, normal, full, double tap, turbo. And then it actually kind of tells you what that may actually do there. I'm not going to cover all of these. You can kind of pause this for a second if you want to look at these. I will go through a couple more and then we can save and close, or you can do default. I've just left this on full. And then let's add another one because I can stack these. So let's go for the aim assist. Actually, let's go advanced recoil assist. Let's add that. Click on that gear. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. I'll show me using the battle rifle in Destiny 2. How much you're going to change the values. You get to actually tailor how much assist it's giving with that, along with the operation mode that you have there. So here, disabled, normal, dual. So if you're dual wielding there, toggle, selector, and then again, adjusting those values. When you're adjusting that, you can put like a tighter clamp on how much it's going to assist with that recoil. So it may even improve it per game that you're trying to mod with the controller, because some of these, again, it's not one where they have like basically presets for it. You can go in there, you can test it out, you can see how much is it working. And if it's not quite to your liking, you can go in there and actually adjust it and make it even better potentially. That's a lot to tinker around with, but this is where I said earlier, it's kind of like a buffet in terms of not only the mods that you can add to the controller, but then once you're in there, how much you can actually adjust it, again, based off the game that you're going to use it with. So there's a lot of customization here. It gives you the examples of what it's doing down here at the bottom in terms of the operation modes, and then the offset values. What I like is that they give a really good explanation as to what these things are doing. We'll save and close there. If I click on the test changes, you can see that it is actually downloading it or turning it on or whatever over on the controller. Now, when you stack too many, like if I do that advanced recoil, and then I'm going to do rapid fire or burst fire, or I'm going to do the drop shot or whatever it may be, you get to a point where it's too much that it's trying to input. You're going to start to notice it's just messing things up. That's where you have to spend time depending on the game and actually test these things out. Let's go with, I don't want to do the double jump. Let's do rapid fire. And then let's see what adjustments we have there. So disabled, normal, dual, toggle, selector. Activate as soon as the fire trigger is pressed. Activate with full press of the fire trigger. Activate by double tapping the fire trigger. You'll notice kind of trends with some of these because they are similar for the inputs. And so depending on which one you're using, that's where it can be confusing for the game because the inputs are kind of the same for certain ones. And if you just add a bunch onto it, it just doesn't know what to do. Modifiers, speed configuration, release time, speed configuration B, because you have A and B in the release time. Again, it's going to explain the breakdown of what these are doing at the bottom. Save and close there. So I'm going to turn that off and then save and close, and then we have it. Now, let's go over to Destiny 2 here. So, the pulse rifle here, and I actually added to this because the cool thing here is when you go into, and I can rename it if I want, but when you go into their presets for the games that they've come up with, you can still add mods on top of that, which is really, really nice. So you're not just stuck to that. So, let's see, let's back out of that. I'll cover this really quick. So check for updates, remote command button, mod chip, disconnect, user support notifications, and then video tutorials. That's just the 4 buttons in the right hand corner, the little 4 dots that you can adjust there. Presets, that's what I want to go to. Apex, Call of Duty, Destiny 2, Rainbow Six Siege, and The Division. Destiny 2, this is the game that I've said I'm going to be really focusing on here. So auto rifles, fusion rifles, hand cannons, machine guns, pulse rifles, shotguns, side rifles, sniper rifles, submachine guns, and trace rifles. So I did the pulse with this one. I'm gonna click on like submachine gun. So it tells you what the gun is. The thing to keep in mind is with a game like that is, do you have that weapon? Because again, they've actually spent time essentially running through their own mods and really trying to refine it, hone it in, find the best essentially preset for that particular weapon. So I do have the Achilleos. I'm not going to run this in the video, but I have that. We can download it. And then once we have that, so it's right here, and then it will actually download it or turn it on with the controller. And then we can come in here. So we just have the advanced recoil assist for that. And then we see what they did to it. By default, I think we showcased it a second ago, it was like 35 and 35 for the offset for the A and the B values. This one is 25 and 0, just set to normal. So you can come in here, hone in it a little bit more if you want to, 100% up to you. I will showcase me messing around with a couple of these. We'll talk for a second and that'll kind of wrap the video up. It's, in terms of Destiny 2, it's definitely something where I'm noticing that it's there. It, depending on the gun, can be pretty subtle. That may be an instance where you want to actually adjust it more yourself to see if you can refine it just a little bit more to get a little bit more performance out of it. That's just for the guns, that's just for the presets. You can go in and you can create your own. So if there's a weapon that's not listed here, we go back to the presets here, and you don't have sniper rifles, you don't have a preset that matches a gun that you're like, hey man, I actually want to use it on this particular gun. It's not on the list here. You just make your own. It's going to take a little bit of time to do that, but you can make your own profile for that or preset for that. And then over time, you may even find that you're going to refine it even more as you start noticing things with it. Again, you can even stack though those other mods on top of that. So like for me, if I'm running the Titan build, I am going to continue to use the auto sprint. It just helps me in that game when I'm running my Titan. If I'm running some of my other builds, if I'm running Warlock or a Hunter or something like that, I probably would with a Hunter. I don't know that I would with a Warlock. Just depends on how you're using the character, but I may find some other mods in there that I do like. I will say with some of them, like when you're doing the shoot and crouch one, or you're doing like shoot and jump, like it depends on the game. Like that does not help you in Destiny 2. It just makes it a mess. So certain ones won't apply really to the game that you're using. So I would say think about that before potentially making a purchase. Or maybe you're like where you do get to choose, hey, I really just am going to use the anti-recoil and like burst fire or something like that. You can just pick the ones you really need versus getting all of them, because there are a lot that again you may not even use depending on the games that you play. So this is the app here, kind of skimming over this. There's a lot to toy around with, to mess with, to look at. Let's see, we'll just do Fortnite real quick. So quick build options here, right? Like messing with all of this. I haven't even messed with Fortnite, honestly. That's not a game I usually play, but I am not good at building. This may actually help me with that. So there's just a lot to tinker around with and kind of have fun with as you're actually trying to figure out how much can it add to the gaming experience, where it's taking a lot of different things off of your plate that you're trying to manage within that game. For me, again, building, it's just, I'm not good at it. I can spend hours and hours and hours trying to get better at it, or I can use this and it can assist me in getting more proficient really, really quick, where it takes something off my plate in terms of just wanting to play the game. And now I get to enjoy it a little bit more. Not everybody's going to agree with that notion with it. They may be just like, no, you just need to learn how to play it or not play it at all. I'm on the side of, I really just want to enjoy the game. And if it's something that's taken away from that, like the inability to be really good at building because I don't have time to just sit around and practice all the time, this may be something that helps me so I can actually get back to gaming and enjoying the gaming experience. So let's go ahead and shift over now to me actually showcasing and testing out the BXR .55 battle rifle in Destiny 2, and I do tinker around with these values. So you can see as you actually sway it like way towards one end, like it's clearly not going to help you. It's just going to shoot your crosshair down or over or something like that. It's actually going to mess it up. It's going to make it way worse. So this is where you want to spend time actually tinkering around with the options that they have here. But for the rest of the software, that is going to conclude on this side. There's a lot to look into with this. I got to spend more time with this myself, but I do like how much customization they are offering you when it comes to these mods, which is really, really cool, especially considering the fact that you are paying a premium price tag. More customization here is better in my opinion. All right, so we're going to look at the BR-55 battle rifle in Destiny 2. The way I have this lined out is I'm just looking at this pillar here and then seeing what type of recoil that we get with this. You're going to notice that it just kind of deviates over to the left-hand side. Just over time, it just does that. But then I'm going to change the values, and then we're going to see what happens when we do a higher A value and a higher B value. Going to get to the point where you notice that at a certain point when you just push the button, and I mentioned this earlier, it just kind of like shoots the crosshair off, like the gun just actually shoots off in a direction. And so you can find like, all right, that's the limit. You can test it out and find where's the really tight clamp where you're going to get the best recoil assist with the gun that you're using versus by default. Like I think it's hard to notice with this one. It's there, it's very subtle, but once I actually kind of go through and adjust it to my liking, I do notice a much bigger difference. And this is really just footage of me testing this, just kind of messing around in it to figure out kind of what it's doing here. If you're doing one of the other modes like dual wielding, it's obviously not going to work because I'm not currently dual wielding. So you do have to pay attention to things that you're changing within this. Otherwise you may accidentally turn that on and you're like, this is horrible. And it's because you're using a mode that just won't work with that game. I mentioned it earlier where like if I'm doing like auto jump or auto crouch with this isn't a game where you want to do that. It just doesn't actually work here. It's more for a game like Call of Duty. So in this game, it just ends up being horrible for the user experience, and you're not really going to get what you want out of it. So right now I've adjusted some of these values. You're starting to notice that the bullet holes, in terms of the spread that they have, it's becoming a tighter clamp on that. So that's really the thing that I'm judging with this. I kind of go to the middle of the pillar. Again, I have that deviation to the left side, but in terms of recoil up and down, I'm not really seeing the larger recoil that I was having. Now you're starting to see, and this is where I mentioned, like if you adjust it too much, what's happening? It's actually starting to just go down. So obviously I don't want that. I've overdone the values because what I'm actually showcasing, well, I did there for a second, which is like, you're not typically static when you're shooting. You're probably running or something like that. So if you're doing that, it's really just going to shoot that gun all the way down and to the left in this instance, and now you can't even see what you're trying to shoot at. So now that I found kind of the tipping point with those values, now I can bring it down a little bit and I can figure out what's the best zone, like clamp on this, what's the best setting values to get a really, really good anti-recoil. And to me, there's a good difference between just the initial one and this now, because it is just staying right in that one small zone where I want it to stay. Are we still getting that lateral deviation? Yeah, we're still getting that. But once you're actually playing and you're moving around, and I'll kind of finish the video out with that, like it doesn't really do that because I'm running and gunning. I'm not just standing there static. But what I want is, as I am running and gunning, any type of recoil that I would get as I'm moving towards a character and shooting, I want to be able to actually do a couple bursts, get that character without this thing shooting way off. So now I can really hone in on those headshots. So now let's shift over to the Ikelos. I always say Ikelios for whatever reason, but with this we have an SMG here, and so we're going to look at not using the assist and then using the assist and then trying to adjust the values. Same thing that we just did with the battle rifle there. So obviously looking at recoil, it's going to go straight up. So we're going to try to reduce that. But it's the same thing here with this SMG, which is, I'm really going to treat this more as like a burst fire. I'm not going to necessarily hold it down every single time. I will, of course, hold it down. But I want to do two different things here. One, I want to get a really good clamp on just that vertical recoil that happens, and then as I'm doing my burst fire, I want to have it hone in onto a really tight zone, which is what I'm testing right here. So this is with the recoil assist on, and again, just using the pillar as kind of like a border for where I want those bullets to stay. Now we're going to turn it off. To me, it's pretty similar between on and off without any adjusted values. I have noticed that with a lot of them, you're going to want to go in and actually adjust these values and figure out what the best setting is for that gun, for that game. Even if it is a preset like this, there's still some tweaking that you can do to make it even better. Now, what I just showcased was me actually using the gun without enabling the recoil assist with the adjustments that I just made. So this is kind of like a before and after there. And so you can see it's now shooting off kind of to the right. It just depends. It kind of will go in either direction just based off maybe potentially being kind of leaning towards one side versus another here. But this is with these settings. I'm going to adjust this again. We're just going to see, can we actually tighten this up even more here? So you're seeing me do the B value to 10, and then we're going to see what this does. We get a pretty good clamp on this thing. So the whole point of all of this is just to kind of showcase what I've been talking about, which is the high level of customization that you have with this controller. You can see the vertical there, it didn't go as high, it kind of went side to side a little bit, but look at the difference in the height that I originally had, which would have been probably almost close to double that, right? So that's with it turned off. So it's about double it, right? So a lot of adjustments that you can make in this software. Again, we have the buffet of not only just the customization for the aesthetics, but also for these mods. And then within those mods, the things that you can do as well. So I am extremely impressed with this controller. And that brings us to the conclusion. I think what Modded Zone has done with this in terms of their tech that they're putting into these various controllers is awesome. Whether or not you believe that's going to be an issue when it comes to, hey, is this cheating or not, because you are modding the controller, 100% up to you as the user. If I'm a competitive player, I would say, like, yeah, I'm again, I mentioned this earlier, like, you shouldn't be going and playing in anything where like cash is up for grabs. I don't think at that point, if you're using a controller and somebody's on a PC, obviously the advantage is going to go to the PC player. As a general statement, I know that there are players out there that are really good with controllers, but that's where you may want to enter one that is more geared towards everybody is on the same playing field in terms of, hey, controllers only, or like mouse and keyboard only in regards to that. Because then again, money is up for grabs at that point. So if you're just a casual player and you're doing, like I'm saying, I'm doing D2 here, I'm not doing any PvP, I'm just doing PvE, I think this is going to be fine. Everybody's going to have their own opinion when it comes to PvP in regards to stuff like this, because some people aren't going to care and some people are really going to care. But the fact that we have this like high level of customization when it comes to the controllers that Modded Zone will actually mod is awesome. I think you get a ton of customization when it comes to the aesthetics. You're also getting a ton of customization when it comes to which mods you want to purchase. You don't have to do them all at once. And then on top of that, the options that I just showcased that you have within those mods as well. So there's just a ton going on with this controller. Whether or not that's going to be worth it is really up to the end user. I think it's worth it. I think the stuff that they've done here is definitely worth the price. But if you don't think that, then the good news is you don't have to buy it. And you can also, again, just get kind of the bare minimum. And then if you need certain ones down the road, you can just actually purchase those. You don't have to do it all at once, which is something that I like as well. And I do want to note the fact that I've barely scratched the surface when it comes to these mods. There's a lot more time I need to spend with this and explore various games. So I'm going to have a link for this in the description if you want to pick it up. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section in regards to this. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.